Hey everyone, welcome back to the garage. Today we're going to go over our usual stuff. We'll take a look at a few items here that sold on eBay, and we'll go over a couple different pieces that I picked up out garage sailing and estate sailing this weekend. But first we're going to talk about CEDs, or video discs, and are they worth buying to resell? The short answer is no. These just aren't really worth a lot of money. And when it comes to anything that's collectible and worth money, if the collector base is extremely small, well, there's not a lot of people fighting over a rare piece, and it's not going to drive that price up. And the other issue is that there's no real visual superiority over modern stuff that we've got now. So think of it like a vinyl record. You put an old vinyl record on and it just sounds incredible. Now, if you pop one of these into a CED player that you've actually found that's working, you're going to be watching like an old worn out VHS tape in like 240p. And then as you watch these over and over again, there was another issue that I experienced as a kid that kind of basically ruined the viewing experience altogether. But before we get into what I think is one of the biggest problems with these, I'll give you a quick history lesson. So 1964, RCA began developing their video on a phonograph system that they originally called disc picks. And they changed that name to Selectavision later on. But the biggest problem was this the first player didn't come out until 1981. And even though it was half the price of a VCR, and these were only 15 to maybe 30, 40 bucks when they came out, VCRs and Laserdisc players technically outclassed the video disc. You can record on a VCR. You can't record onto this video disc. Now, had these come out before the VCR, say late 60s, early 70s, I think this would have drastically changed the home video landscape. But unfortunately, it was just too late to the party. Now, this disc it's damaged. That's why I'm taking it out here. Typically, you wouldn't do this. You'd never see this disc at all. What you'd do is you'd put this into your player. It would catch these ends here and hold them in place while you pull the caddy away, leaving this frame and the disc inside. So here is the CED, or capacitance electronic disc, and it looks a lot like a vinyl record, but it's been infused with carbon. I think that's the right term, basically turning this whole thing into an electrical conductor. And a vinyl record has about 200 grooves per inch, and this has over 9,500 grooves per inch. Now, you can't feel these. You can feel the vinyl record grooves, but what's really interesting is, because they're so close together, the stylus on the video disc player, or CED player, it can't reach the bottom of these grooves. And at the bottom are different peaks and valleys. And because this is an electrical conductor and the stylus is also an electrical conductor, the gap in between, that creates a capacitor. And to put it simply, sensing the different heights, the peaks and valleys in that gap is what produces your audio and your video. So it gets even more interesting when you look up the definition of flux. And the word flux means continuous change, movement, or the rate of flow of energy, fluids, or particles across a specific area. So that's kind of what's happening here. But because there's a gap between the two electrical conductors, does that mean this is kind of like a flux capacitor? So the big issue with these wasn't like a record where it would skip if you scratched it, because you never physically touched the disc. The problem, at least from all the ones I remember when I was a kid, was getting dust on them. And because these little grooves on the CED were so small, the tiniest piece of dust would cause skipping and static and snow and ruin your viewing experience. And that happened a lot to the CEDs I had when I was younger, my parents' CEDs. Now, are they worth selling? Well, this one sells for anywhere between $50 and $100, and it's pretty rare. This one was made in 1986, which I think was the last year that these were produced. The video players themselves went out in 84, and I think 86 was the final year for the discs being made. Now, some sealed ones can bring a lot of money. This one you'd think would be pretty decent. Teddy Pendergrass, live in London, February of 1982, about a month before he had his terrible accident that left him paralyzed from the chest down. Incredible artist, still sealed, but probably maybe only worth $20 to $30. Now, some other movies. I haven't looked this one up yet, but there's Karate Kid. And Karate Kid is on two of them because each disc could only hold about 1 hour of data, or 1 hour of a video on each side. So if anything's longer than 2 hours, you're going to need to, well, first what you'd have to do is you'd have to play side 1 for the hour, take it out, play side 2 for the next hour, and then pop in the next one to get side 3 and side 4 if the movie went on that much longer. So what should you look for if you want to make some money on these things? Now, there's not a lot that are worth a whole bunch of money. In fact, the vast majority of them are pretty much worthless, sub $10 discs here. Your best bet is to probably lot them up, but there are a few out there that can bring some pretty good money. If you find any horror movies like Friday the 13th, 1 through 5 can bring about $100 to maybe $150. And if you find other horror films, your best bet is to lot them up, and you can get $100 to $200 for the lot. Star Wars is another one. If you find all 3 Star Wars CEDs, you can get about $100 to $150. And if you find any of them sealed, they can go for up to $200 and $250 each. Rocky 1, 2, and 3 can sell for about $150, but only if you find the Championship Collection 3 disc set. Some of the more rare CEDs, one of them being this RCA Select-O-Vision Service Alignment disc. This is something I've never seen before, but it goes for about $150. Another RCA branded disc that's pretty rare is called Thanks for the Memories. This one can sell for up to $300, and it was the last CED that was ever made. Getting into some more of the rare and obscure pieces that, if you're up for a good treasure hunt, these are the ones you're going to want to look for. One of them being the Hawaii Southern California Sun Vacations CED from Vidmark Systems. One of these sold back in 2023 for $515. And another one just sold July 8th of this year, 2026, for $995.99. Avon released a few CEDs, one of them being the Success Network disc. It's got a pixelated cover on it with a girl with some lipstick. That one sold in 2023 on 7 bids for $898.88. There's another Avon one called the Avon Gallery Originals Promotional CED. And this one says Disc T1. I'm not sure how many of these they made. That one sold in 2023 with 23 bids for $1,025. Now, if you find the Goonies CED, well, it can sell for, I think, $50 to maybe $100. But if it's sealed, you may have actually struck gold, because one of them sold in 2024 with 27 bids for $1,276.51. Now, I don't think I've got any hidden gems like that in my stack of CEDs here, but if I do find one that stands out, I'll be sure to put it up here in a video. But let's jump over to the table and see what's sold on eBay. First thing heading out the door is this 1989 Donruss baseball puzzle and cards. There's 72 3-packs in here, and each pack contains 9 puzzle pieces and 45 trading cards. So 45 trading cards times 72 packs, that's 3,240 trading cards in here. You can see you've got Griffey's rookie right here on the top. Now, something to be on the lookout for if you do ever find these, the bottom seal on a few of these I've noticed is starting to come apart. Now, the rest of the seals seem to be okay, but the bottom ones, there's probably more than 5 in here where they started to separate. So not a huge deal, because this is, well, it's still 89 Donruss, and this is something that I paid up for quite a bit. I paid $125 for this here, but I also was able to buy over there there's only 6 left, but I had quite a few more of those wax cases over there, and those were only 15 a piece. So this one was a mistake, but I did just get my money back because it sold on eBay for $150 plus shipping. The next piece heading out is this Compaq Desk Pro EN. It's running Windows 2000. It's got a DVD CD-ROM drive and a 3.5-inch floppy. I just put a fresh install of Windows 2000 Professional on here. This is one that I actually got for free, and when I picked it up, it came with 2 video cards, and one of them's not terrible. It's an ATI 9200 SE with, I think, 128 megabytes of RAM. So I took this one out, and I'm going to keep this one for a future Windows 98 build for myself, and the one that was in there is working just fine. So this one did not last long in my eBay shop, and it just sold for $175 plus shipping. This next piece going out is an accordion that I picked up on the Route 90 garage sale, the 50-mile garage sale here in New York. It was only 25 bucks, and it is a Bomar accordion. This has some issues here and there. It's got some cracks, and this piece is kind of doing that, and then the strap is gross looking. But other than that, it works pretty well. The bass key's stuck slightly, only a couple of them, but that's not really a huge issue. The bellows were in great shape. There's no tears, no air leaks in the bellows, so that was a plus. But this is something, because of, you know, this here and the bass keys kind of sticking, I listed this as a parts are not working, sold as is with no returns, and it just sold on a best offer for $150 plus shipping. Taking a quick look at some of the finds I picked up over this weekend, my favorite being this 1973 Coleman 200A lantern. It was only $20, and it's in very good condition. Probably one of the top 3 cleanest 200As that I have. This is going to stay in my own personal collection because it's just too nice to sell, and it's going to go right up on the shelf with the rest of them. So for only 20 bucks, this one was well worth the purchase. And it is the first 200A that's complete that I've found all year. Next thing I picked up is this Jeanie Rub massager. It's very industrial feeling and just like heavy duty. It's a really good piece. I've sold several of these in the past, but they had a different sticker on them. The branding said Morfam, if I remember correctly. But this was only $2, and I seem to find these for like $5 or less almost every time. They sell pretty quick. I'll put a comp up here on the screen. So if you ever see these floating around at garage sales, they're definitely worth picking up. Another piece that I love selling are these Microsoft ergonomic keyboards, but only if I can find them with the riser. The riser definitely helps when you sell these things. This one's got a little bit of crud on it, so it's going to definitely need a good cleaning, but they sell pretty good. I'll put a comp up on the screen for this one here as well. I've sold these in the past for, I want to say, as high as $100 each, but they were almost brand new in the box. But if you do see these, look them up because they can be worth selling. Last on the table is this Technics SLQ300 turntable. It's a direct drive turntable, which I love. I think they always sell better than the belt drive turntables. Now this one's got some dirt on it. It's going to need some cleaning, but it's also got a cracked dust cover, which is very unfortunate. Now, on average, these sell for about $200. This one, I'm guessing, because of that cracked dust cover, I'll get maybe closer to $150. But we'll have to see how it cleans up and then go from there. Either way, it was a great purchase for only $20. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.